Hi guys! So today I will be doing a different kind of video. A lot of the times my friends will ask me how I get my skin to look so perfect in a photo or how to get my hair to look so perfect in a photo. Sad to say, it's all Photoshop. I wouldn't say I Photoshop a lot in my photos, but I do Photoshop a good deal. It comes really handy because I did get it for free for attending UC Berkeley. I got it 4 years ago and I haven't stopped using it since. Why do I Photoshop myself? That's a good question. Photoshop is like plastic surgery for photo. You know, you can make yourself look like the ideal you. It's important to love yourself and how you were born. But you know what? Some of us just want to have a nice profile photo for once, okay? Can we do that without being judged? Like, come on, no. So that's pretty much the reason why I Photoshop myself. If somebody takes a photo of me, I'm not gonna be like, no, I need to Photoshop that before I can post it to Facebook. Like, I think it's important to make subtle changes as opposed to making yourself look like nothing like yourself. So I'm gonna show you some quick and simple tools that you can use in Photoshop. I'm by no means a professional in Photoshop, so if you wanna see like real tutorials, I'm sure there are like plenty of other tutorials on YouTube. What I'm gonna do now is take a photo of myself and then I'm gonna go to the laptop and show you how I Photoshop. Let's begin. Okay, so I decided to use this photo of my face. So the first thing that I do to every single photo is remove some of the smaller moles that are on my face. So for example, this one over here. So the tool that I use to do that is the spot healing brush tool. So if you go over to your toolbars over here, it's this little band-aid button right here. So if you click and hold on it, you see you have different options. So if you just use the spot healing brush tool, click on it. And then if you click on at the top over here, content aware, then zoom in on the little mole that you want to remove or any other blemish that you want to remove. Select a brush size over here that's big enough to cover the mole and a little bit more space. So I'm gonna select brush size maybe around 18. And I am going to just click over the mole. And bam, it's gone. It's partially gone. I'm just gonna click over this one and bam! It's gone. So I'm gonna do that for the rest of my moles on my face. This little red dot, I'm gonna get rid of that, or maybe on my forehead that usually needs to get removed. Right here, I'm gonna remove that. There's one right here. It's kind of close to my eyeglasses, so it's gonna be a little bit more difficult. Okay, so I got rid of that one pretty easily. And now I can get rid of some of the larger pores on my face. So for example, this one, these little indentations on my face that I want to remove, I can just use the brush tool, click on it, and then it will be gone. So yeah, very easy, very simple mole removal. Let's get rid of these huge pores as well. I think I pretty much cleaned up all of the tiny blemishes that I have on my face. Now, I see that I have some wrinkles on my neck. So I'm gonna try to remove those by getting just a slightly bigger brush, maybe around 22. So I'm just gonna click once, then drag across the wrinkle, like so. So as you can see, it's kind of disappearing now. I'm gonna have to go through a couple more times just to make sure that all of it's gone. So the bottom one seems like it's gone. I'm gonna do it for this larger one up here, which is more severe. So it looks like it is disappearing very easily. Okay, and then I think I might just leave this one line here so I don't look like a complete fake plastic bimbo. So I also see that I have a few stray hairs around my head that I should probably remove. So you can also use the spot peeling brush tool to do the same thing. Just click kind of in the general area where the hair is, click and drag, and see, now it's gone. So all the way up to over here, maybe here. I am going to move on to my favorite tool of all, LIQUIFY. I'm sure you guys have probably heard of LIQUIFY if you have ever tried using Photoshop. It's basically what you can use to plastic surgerize your face. So if you want your face to be thinner, if you want, you know, your nose to be smaller, if your hands to be bigger, you know, whatever you want to be bigger or smaller, you can use LIQUIFY to do it. So to get to LIQUIFY, you want to go to, at the very top, click on Filter, then click on LIQUIFY. So it's really easy to find. It's gonna open up another interface for you, just like this. So here's a little magnifying glass you can use to kind of magnify in on what portions of your face you want to kind of edit. So I'm gonna magnify in on my nose because I usually try to reduce the size of my nostrils just by a teensy bit. So I'm gonna go in, zoom in on my nose, Click on this very top little finger tool, which is the forward warp tool. Then select a brush size that is appropriate. So you kind of want to select a brush size that is a little bit bigger than the area that you want to work with. So I'm going to select a brush size that's around, let's try maybe 286. So I'm going to take the forward warp tool and basically click down and drag in. That's all you have to do. So my nostril is instantly smaller. So I want to click down and drag in to make it a little bit smaller. Same thing on the other side, so I don't have two imbalanced nostrils. That would be terrible. And there you go. Now I'm going to try to slim down my face just a little bit. So if I zoom out by clicking this little button down there, I'm going to select a brush size that is even larger so I can kind of move my face at will. And again, just push in by clicking and dragging inwards with my mouse. This section is a little bit too chubby, so I'm just gonna push inwards. Push inwards. Same thing on the other side. Slightly push inward. Push inward. And then I'm gonna make my chin a little bit smaller. Now I'm also gonna make my ears a little bit bigger, because if you haven't noticed, my ears are super tiny. So that's basically just dragging it out like that. Now that I have fixed my face a little bit and my ears, I'm gonna work on my hair. So I kind of do a lot of my hairs because a lot of the times it doesn't look the way that I want it to. So you can make some slight changes again with the forward warp tool. So I'm first going to try to make the sides of my hair, the sideburns, a lot shorter, just so it looks more like an emphasized undercut. I'm going to zoom in on this section right here, and then I'm gonna push this in towards my head so I don't have so much hair sticking out. So I'm gonna push it in towards my head. So if you choose a smaller brush size, it's not gonna move your forehead or anything like that. It's basically just gonna move the area that you're trying to move. So I'm gonna make it look even more straight by pushing it even more inwards. I'm just gonna have a little bit of that hair showing on this side. Just gonna drag my forehead out just a little bit, kind of cover that section up. There we go. It's a lot shorter now. So if I zoom out, it kind of looks a lot better than it did before, I would say. Now I'm gonna go to the other side and do kind of the same thing, and also make my head a little bit more straight and square shaped instead of kind of round shaped. So I'm going to zoom in on the other side, then push this part inwards. So as you can see, I'm kind of changing the way the background looks, which is pretty unprofessional, but to be honest, people are not going to notice like slight changes like that. So just making this section of my head a lot more straight, so it's not so round and bleh looking. So another thing that I like to do is kind of pull my hairline down a little bit, since I do have a little bit of a receding hairline, unfortunately. I'm gonna try to push this down a little bit so it looks like I have fuller hair. So you can always undo anything by pressing Command Z if you're on a Mac. I think it's Control Z if you're on a Windows. Just gonna keep dragging it down. I'm gonna use a smaller brush tool just to make it so that there's not so many baby hairs showing on my hairline. So just move it in a little bit. Now I'm gonna kind of change the shape of my pompadour that I have on top of my head just to make it look a little bit more fuller and more even. And I'm gonna pull the bump outwards. I'm also gonna pull out this section of my forehead to make it look a little bit more squarish. So as you can see, that's kind of adding more to my hair as well as making my forehead look more squarish. I'm gonna zoom in on the top section of my hair because it looks like I have a little kink right here. So I'm gonna take a smaller brush tool and just even that out by pulling this hair upwards. So now that we zoom out, you can see that the shape of my head is a lot different than it was before. I'm actually going to drag out the pompadour in this section just a little bit more, so it'll kind of cover up these baby hairs that I have going on. Now I'm gonna press OK to confirm all of those changes, so just click. Okay, so now I can see that the changes have been confirmed, so I'm gonna zoom in just a little bit to show you the difference. Bam! Yeah, just some slight changes to make the photo look a lot better, especially with the hair. So at this point, there are some other things that you can do to the photo to make it stand out a little bit more. Sometimes if the photo is too dark, I'll go to Image, then I'll click on Adjustments, then I'll go to Curves. And I'll make the photo just a little bit brighter by moving the curve, holding and dragging the curve down just a little bit. So just to make it a little brighter. Because of the way I set up my lights, they kind of wash out my face a little bit. So I'll go to Image, Adjustments, then I'll go to Vibrance. Then I usually turn up the vibrance by around 40 to 45 notches, maybe saturation +1, just to make my face look a little bit more pigmented. Now you can kind of see that the color of the skin on my face doesn't really match the skin on my hand because I have some foundation on. So what I can do is go to, click on, if you have this little lollipop tool, click and hold, then you want to click on the burn tool. Then choose a brush size that will kind of encompass this whole section of your finger / hand or whatever is. Make sure the range is set on midtones. The exposure is set to around 50%. Then you can just kind of click and it'll make the skin on your hand darker immediately. So that's what I'm doing right now. So I made my whole finger darker so that it'll match the skin on my face. I can also do that to make my eyebrows a little bit more prominent, just because you can kind of tell that this eyebrow is a lot darker than this eyebrow. Move in, click on it once to make it darker. Darker, darker. Bam, a lot more even now. And I'm just gonna fill in this patch right here. Yeah. See? A lot more even. Oh, look at me, I'm so beautiful. I'm just kidding, I'm not beautiful. So that is pretty much all that I do to my photos. I'll show you what it looks like before. Oh my God, ugly. No, it's not that bad, but like, this definitely looks a lot better than this, especially in terms of the hair, I think. And getting things to just kind of match each other and whatnot. So that's basically how I Photoshop myself. Hopefully this video was helpful in some way. If you like what you saw, make sure to subscribe to my channel for videos every other week. You can click in this general area to see some of the other videos that I've done in the past. And yeah, bye!